Good night. My name is Luisa Fernanda Manotas and I'm going to answer 4 different questions with true or false options. Okay, the first one says, in the fetal circulation, A, there are 2 umbilical arteries and 1 umbilical vein. Well, this actually is true because the fetal circulation consists by 2 umbilical arteries from the internal iliac arteries, and then those arrive into the placenta. There in the placenta is where the gas exchange happened, and then when the oxygenated blood is ready, it go through the umbilical vein toward the inferior vena cava. Okay, so A is true. B, over 90% of blood passes the liver via the ductus venosus. This one is false because it's not the 90%, it's the 50% of the blood. Okay, the Z says the foramen ovale divides the left and the right ventricles. It's wrong, it's false, because the foramen ovale divides the atriums, not the ventricles. D, the umbilical arteries carries oxygenated blood from the placenta to the fetus. And that is false too, because like I say, the umbilical arteries come from the internal iliac arteries to the placenta, not the other way. And E, the foramen ovale allows blood to bypass the pulmonary circulation. This is true, and it was hard for me to understand it because I don't know. I have another concept, but the foramen ovale, we know that is a structure who connect the 2 atriums, the left atrium with the right atrium. So when it happened, the circulation who came from the inferior vena cava and the superior vena cava goes mostly to the other atrium, right? And there's not a lot of blood who goes through the pulmonary artery. The same happened with the ventricle. The ventricle have a connection in both ventricles who pass the oxygenated blood to the other sides, and there's more like a communication between these two. That's this one with the pulmonary arteries. So what happened when the blood who comes to the right heart needs to be in the other side because the other side needs oxygen blood too. So the heart's like prioritizes that fluid of blood to the other side than the pulmonary artery, and that way they have enough blood to go through the aorta and go through the other parts of the body. So I think that that is how I understand it. And also there is a small part of the blood that goes through the pulmonary artery, but most of it go bypass. Okay, the oxygen dissociation curve of fetal hemoglobin is shifted to the left compared with adult hemoglobin, ensuring oxygen delivery to the fetus despite low oxygen partial pressure. Okay, that one is true. It's true because it stimulates oxygen uptaken by the placenta. And we got the 3. The B is the presence of the ductus arteriosus on large pulmonary vascular resistance, which ensures most of the right ventricle output passes into the aorta. Okay, that's what I was talking about before, only that I didn't mention on the pulmonary vascular resistance. With that, it's made more sense, because the flow of the blood, it needs to go to the other side of the heart that doesn't have oxygen blood. And with ductus arteriosus and pulmonary vascularity, this can pass into the aorta, like I said. Go through the other side of the into the left ventricle and down with when it is in the left ventricle, it goes through the aorta, and then the blood can be in the rest of the body. Z, the patency of the ductus arteriosus is maintained by high oxygen tensions, but this is false, because it's not maintained by high oxygen pressures. Is maintained by prostaglandin E2 and by the low oxygen tension and vasodilating effects, who are caused by this prostaglandin E2. D. The patency of the ductus arteriosus is maintained by the vasodilating effect of the prostaglandin G2. Okay, it's a little mistake here, because it's not G2, it's E2, so it's false. And E. 2-3 DPG levels are higher in fetal hemoglobin compared with adult hemoglobin. This is false, because the fetus has a high percentage of hemoglobin F, who has a lower affinity with this 2-3 DGP, and that's why. So we got the point 3. Change at birth include A fall in pulmonary vascular resistance. Yes, it's true, and it goes with a long expansion. That means that the pulmonary vessels get opened. I don't know if this is related, but I always heard that when the baby cries, made this true, it was the first breath or the first thing that made the pulmonary vascular resistance false. We got B. A rise in systemic vascular resistance with a clamping of the cord. Yes, it's true. And Z. An increase in hypoxic pulmonary vasoconstriction. And that is false. False, because like I said before, what happened is a long expansion. The vessels and get open. And D is false. No, D, I'm sorry. D is a rise in left atrial pressure. It's true. And it's true because there need to have a reversal of pressure gradient. In the fetal life, the gradient is more go through the right heart into the left heart. It needs to be the other way, and it's because they need to like get close to the foramen oval, and also will the normal circulation it's like it starts with the left heart. Okay. And E, closure of the ductus arteriosus within 24 hours. This is false because it is in 24 hours. It is 2 days after birth. That's always false. Fourth and last one. The following congenital hair lesions are cyanotics. A, ventricular septal defect. Okay, I got the like A, B, and Z are false because they are not cyanotic. They are acyanotic and are more like structural acyanotic congenital heart lesions. The only one who are cyanotic is the tetralogy of follow-up and the transposition of the great arteries. And that's because when we got a cyanotic heart disease, it means that the flow of the blood goes like that we got an abnormal flow of the blood from the right heart to the left heart. And that's all. I'm so sorry by the mistakes. I'm still like practicing and improving my English. But thank you. I really learned a lot with this class, and bye.